the show. Oh, come on. There it goes.
Grab your rods and tackle box, folks, as we dive into the wild world of fishing. Get ready for some laughs, some fish stories, and a touch of chaos as we wade into the deep waters of fishing wisdom. Our guides on this trip are a know-it-all, a guy who desperately needs a haircut, and a man named Sam. In this podcast, this motley crew shares their knowledge, their latest fishing antics, and probably get into more trouble than they bargained for. It's a podcast as unpredictable as the sport of fishing. If you love fishing, then this is the place to be, because in this podcast, every catch is a big one. Every story is a keeper, and the only thing more legendary than the tales is the trio delivering them. Welcome to the Bait Tank.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Bait Tank. Today we are talking about being responsible anglers and dealing with waterway health. It is something that we directly influence based on our sport and the luck we have and the experience we get from participating in the sport is directly influenced by the health of the waterway and the fishery. Joining me tonight is Sam. Welcome in, Sam. Hope you're doing great. Sam, you there?
What?
What's up, buddy? Show started, man. Welcome in.
Sorry. I told you it's been an extremely long week.
I got you, man. Hope you're doing
Yeah.
well.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Notice you shaved.
Yeah. At work there was some executive bosses, so it was a great time.
Sure.
And I was like, oh no, I'm very fuzzy, so that's not very good in a kitchen. Like, they make you wear those hair nets, and I was like right on the edge when they're like, well, we're gonna make you wear this, and those things are not comfortable. They look dorky, and it kind of like pushes everything. Like, I normally have a tight beard anyways, but it pushes everything like in, so like you like breathe in your hair. It's just not a good time.
I got you. All right. Well, let's say hello to some folks. Mrs. Yak first. Welcome in. Oreo. Hope you're doing great. Over here on TikTok. Yeah, Fishman Zatum. Welcome in. Chicken Little Too Tough. Welcome in. VLB Fishing. Welcome in. Hope you guys are all doing fantastic. This is a multi-streamed live broadcast. We are talking about waterway health from the responsibility point as an angler. Anybody's been fishing for any length of time has been out in a fishing spot and has seen garbage.
You're sounding a little distant, dude.
Say it again.
You're sounding a little distant.
Distant.
Oh, now you're sounding good.
Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, we are streaming to lots of places tonight. Welcome in. My name's Anthony. This is Sam. We like talking about fishing. That's what it boils down to.
You're doing it again.
Sounding distant?
Yeah.
Is it distant or is it choppy?
Like far away.
Huh.
No, you sound good now.
So that one sounds fine, but if I go in a long ramble, it cuts down.
Yep.
All right, hang on. Let me adjust this. Does this sound better?
For now.
Okay. Well, here we are talking about fishing as usual. Oh, radio, something not working right. Why?
Yeah, no, it's worse.
It's worse?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
I should have done a test live stream again. Oh, well. Hopefully, we're going to limp through this, guys. Okay, according to my wife, I sound fine. So you
Oh,
are having issues hearing me. So we're gonna roll with this. But hey, Waterway health, it's important. It affects everything we do, everything we love about the sport. So yeah, I gotta fix one thing quick. That's why. This should be better now. Okay. All right, Sam, do me a favor, talk for a second.
what's
You
up?
know, technical issue. Talk for like 3 seconds.
1, Mississippi 2,
All right,
Mississippi
that's good.
3, Mississippi.
All right. So, fishing tales. We did go fishing this week. We did pick up some trash. Did find some trash, but we did end up catching in the last week and a half over 150 pounds of fish. Wow. I'm struggling talking today. It's been a long weekend. So far. Been fun, been busy. So I hope you guys are all doing great. But back to the topic at hand, waterway health. Very important. Um, one thing we do want to talk about is just some statistics. So specifically from the freshwater aspect, about 2.5% of the earth is freshwater. Pretty much all the freshwater is accessible to fish, with the exception of the stuff that's frozen in the glaciers. What we do have access to is about 1% of it. And that 2.5% of freshwater, though, supports 10% of all species globally. And which makes sense if you think about the ratio between freshwater and saltwater. But just take that into account for a minute. 10% of all life on Earth is supported by 1% of accessible freshwater of the total water amount on the planet. It's absolutely nuts. With that being said, and Sam can give you touch with me this. If you go out fishing, how many times have you been fishing and you walked up to your spot and there's an empty worm container or a plastic bag or a fast food bag?
Dude, I have walked on my spots before and found tackle boxes just left there.
So literally, you just walk up and there's a whole tackle box.
Yeah, like not like hundreds of dollars worth of stuff, but like the little clear plastic ones. Oh yeah.
Sure. What about you guys out in the audience? What about you guys? How many times you walk out to your spot and it's trash? Let us know in the comments. 100% of the time, 10% of the time, yesterday, whatever. When was the last time you saw trash? What'd you see? Were you disgusted by it? If any of you guys say yes, or the very last trip, or a bunch of times, how many of those times have you tried to pick up the trash? Or tried to leave it better than you found it? Hopefully, more than just a few. Hopefully, you guys are out there cleaning trash. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something in the story. It's absolutely disgusting, but we're going to save it for a little bit. But it's insane what happened. The outcome of it was disgusting. And it changed my opinion on fishermen flat out. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a fisherman, so I'm bashing myself included, but it's just ridiculous. So you're not going to want to miss that for sure. Now, things to worry about when it comes to waterway health. So there's things that are out of our control, right? Sam, you mentioned earlier when we were talking before the show, pollution runoff, agriculture runoff, pesticides, fertilizers, which lead to
Yeah,
algae blooms.
like yep, and just like seaweed growth, like raccoon tails where I'm at, like along the edges. Holy crap, dude. I've never been snagged up so much before, even on floaters. Like that like half an inch that the hook's like digging into the water, it just hangs up, and it's like it wasn't like that 10 years ago.
Sure.
But you get all
Uh,
these $1,000,000 houses, which good on them. I kinda jelly, not gonna lie, with manicured lawns and all the sprays and stuff like that, and it just goes back into the lake.
yeah. Well, then you have urban runoff, which is from manufacturing plants, roadways. Uh, that can include oil, heavy metals, plastic pollution, uh, more pesticides, even at a larger scale, besides a household yard. Um, all of this stuff directly impacts fish and the habitats they live in, whether it be the weeds, whether it be the water itself, all the fish species, all the fish's food, crustaceans, all that stuff. Literally anything that's in contact with the water. So frogs, lizards, the deer. I mean, anything comes up and uses that water can be affected by that. Which some of it's necessary. Don't get me wrong. We live in a world where manufacturing helps the economy thrive. All that good stuff gives us the ability to get the mass-produced fishing gear, the custom fishing gear, because all the materials are manufactured and stuff. But it's still something we have to take into account and think about. It even at that scale. So that's just manufacturing. That's just dealing materials, shipping of the materials, all that good stuff. But then you also got to think about the habitat destruction. It includes the construction of dams, water diversion projects, habitat fragmentation, which is where you kind of split an ecosystem into multiple parts because you want to put something right in the middle of it, such as a highway through a forest or a state park, stuff like that. Um, it all affects the local ecosystem. And this could even be as much um, as the loss of wetlands from just the natural process. You have the bays eventually in a wetland, turn into a bog, turn into solid ground. That also affects this stuff, but it can be sped up through things such as agricultural runoff. All the plants that kind of form and grow, you feed them, obviously, they're going to grow rampantly. So that speeds all that process up. Um, Another thing, I didn't even think about that. So the loss of wetlands, a lot of those wetlands and aquifers and stuff, once those kind of get tainted or ruined or dry up, well, that affects us as well because a lot of our drinking water is gotten from those kind of sources, and down the line, eventually gets directly back to us. So again, even if you weren't fishing, if you were just spending time outside or just trying to drink water, you're being affected by this too. Um, and on top of that, another threat in terms of ecosystem waterway health, in not necessarily indirectly, it's still direct, but it's not based on anything we've done. Is going to be invasive species. Those things go through, they tear up an ecosystem, they kill certain plants, um, eat certain food sources, deplete them and whatnot. Then you have an ecosystem that's thrown off balance, and that can also mess with things down the line, especially.
Yeah, kinda like with, like, the, up here, we had really bad zebra mussels for oh, they're still an issue, but when it was first, introduced into, like, the Great Lakes and Burt Lake, people were getting stitches, like, regularly, like, there were signs that closed beaches down up here just because people didn't clean their boats when, um, going from place to place. I can't even remember where they originated from. This was, like, 20 years ago. Um, but yeah, that's something that will always be here now, and we never had that before.
For sure.
Um,
And it's not going away either. It's like Asian carp. Those are in the waterway now. They breed so rampantly. It's not. They're never going to go away entirely. The amount of mitigation and naturalization that'll take place over time. That's what we have to wait for. You know, um, we haven't talked about it yet on the show, but there's a documentary I found a few years ago from a wildlife officer in Virginia, if I remember correctly, that was talking about the snakehead population and how the local species are finally starting to use them as a food source. And so, with them being
I'm
used as a
not gonna
food
lie.
source, they're toning back.
Like, not gonna lie. I hope to God I never hook into a snakehead. Like, I do not want to touch that fish. It looks disgusting. I know that's like the least manly thing I could probably ever say. And like I've had my hands and like, I'm a hunter, so you got to clean out deer. And I'm like looking at those snakeheads on like YouTube videos. I'm like, no, I feel like I would use like gloves at least. Like,
Yeah, they definitely have some teeth. No different than a
or do
pike or
they?
a
I
walleye,
didn't
though.
even know they had teeth. Like they just look nasty. Like that's what I
Well,
was like, no, I don't want to
so
touch it.
they're called a Houdini fish for a reason. They are very slippery and have a pretty easy time of getting out of the boat or out of your hands. And then obviously
And
they grow big and strong. And with teeth, they get you off pretty good.
if they're already off the hook and they just self-release, I'm happy with that
That's
all day,
fair.
every day.
I'd love a picture with one of them. And they're supposedly good eating, but I haven't got to that point yet.
But it's the same with eel too. Like eel is amazing, especially smoked. Oh my god. Um, but that's another thing where I'm like, nah, um, I'm good. I'm not. I don't want to touch it. I don't know why. Like, um,
I've had eel. I've had eel sushi before too, and it's not my favorite. It's a very strong taste.
it depends on how it's like brined or whatever they do to it. Or it might be just like where it's from. Because I've had eel is the only kind of sushi that I like, and I don't eat sushi very often. Like I think last time I had sushi was 5 years ago, and that was just a couple pieces. Um, I have had ceviche though, but that was kind of cool because the charter was just, like cut up the tuna and like here, try this, and like dipped it in soy sauce. So the fish was still flopping around. I kind of felt bad, but it was already deceased.
Oh,
And I had it was my fish, so I was like, all right, that thing, dude, it was like half an hour just going around. Um, but I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, so I've had like different kind of sushis, but it's or eel, and oh, Viking says
I'm
send
working on it.
him
Yeah,
the link. Okay, okay, oh, stop yelling
I'm
at
working on
me.
it. I'm not
You
yelling at you.
scare
I
me
got
when you yell. I'm telling your wife. Um, so it just might be
it.
like different kinds, or it might just be like where they're from, or if they brine them. I'm sure they do. At least the eel that I had was cooked because kind of paranoid about parasites. Not gonna lie.
Well,
Um,
understandably so.
I have a fishing lure addiction, dude. I need help.
If he still texts you, tell him to check Facebook. He must have got a new phone. We might have another co-host coming finally. We'll see though. But yeah, so like I said, pollution runoff, habitat destruction, and invasive species, they're kind of indirect for us. We didn't actually cause that problem doing what we do, but um, it's still something we have to take into account and something to think about.
Can y'all
Er,
hear me?
Yes,
No.
welcome in.
Hi.
For those who,
I got caught up in changing water on fish tanks.
for those who don't know, this is
Um,
Zach. Welcome in, Zach. Glad you're here. In case you didn't know the episode, we're talking about waterway health from an angler standpoint. So responsible angling, waterway health. We've talked about runoff. We talked about dam construction, manufacturing, all that good stuff. And we've also talked about the something to deal with, but not necessarily something we can control easily. Invasive species and how all that stuff affects waterways. But as we shift the
Sorry, I'm
conversation,
not up on screen tonight. I have a massive migraine.
you're good, man. You're good. As we shift,
I've got the light off. So,
you're good, man.
it's-
Take some meds, get over it. It's all good.
Have you heard the theory of transferring pain?
I don't
I'll
like the
give it
sound
all
of that.
to you, Sam.
But I said I don't sound like I want that. So you can keep it.
No, you just gotta like think major pain. Just break your finger, you'll be all right.
And I was excited to unveil the new fish in the fish tank. It's a native species.
What'd you get?
I've got black crappie in my fish tank
Huh.
that are eating pellets.
Interesting.
They're in there with my one of my pairs of discus, one of my pairs of angels, and a bunch of other fish.
Nice. But yeah, so from stuff out of our control to stuff in our control. Sam, what is the number one thing we can do as anglers to increase waterway health?
Clean up after yourself.
I was going to say the same thing.
Hey, he asked me first. So clean up after yourself. If you see something that is clearly garbage or is left there by other people, whether that be like a tackle box with an inch of water in it, to an empty worm container or beer cans, whatever. It's bring a grocery sack or something like that, fill it up, and throw it away at the gas station. We all need gas. Or
For sure. All right. Zach, I know he covered the easy one. What about you? What's another thing we can do as anglers to
yeah, he did.
keep waterway health
he
up?
pretty much covered it. What
So
I
there's-
was going to say.
You can't think of anything else.
I mean, a lot of it is watch what you're putting in the water. Period.
Explain.
I mean, don't be dumping chemicals and stuff like that on the boat. If you got a leak on your boat, trailer your boat back up and fix that leak first.
Sure.
Or because all those chemicals, I mean, it might not seem like a lot, but when you add 150 to 200 more boats on top of that that might have the same issue, it becomes a lot.
Definitely.
Well, think about like if you're putting gas in your lawnmower or something like that, and you sprinkle a couple of drips on your lawn, like
mean?
that's dead. Like,
It's
well,
especially dead if
get
you light a
over
match.
depends on how much gas you're throwing, and like that has to be prepared. Like if it's like a couple of drips, like I think you're gonna be okay because the fumes are it's what it ignites. Now if you
I mean,
got
that's
like
true.
an eighth of a cup and you're like,
Sorry,
I got-
Amanda was trying to tell me something and it threw me off for a second.
You're good,
no
man.
worries, buddy.
Well,
I mean-
what if I told you there's a couple other things we can do? We got the two obvious ones. Don't put stuff in the water that's not supposed to be there. Pick up your trash, right?
What about look for biodegradable or like more natural like pesticides and stuff like that?
Environmentally friendly tackle, gear, and chemicals. Yes, exactly. That's definitely another one.
So I actually when I was in Florida, I went to a turtle hospital there, which was an amazing experience. And it made me feel really, really bad. Seeing what like anglers were doing to the sea turtle population. So I tried to buy like biodegradable fishing line,
Uh-huh.
and good luck. It's very hard to find, and if you do find it, it is extremely expensive, and it has to be changed quite often because it kind of, you know,
That's
degrades.
it.
degrades
It
over
degrades
time.
exactly.
Supposed to. Yeah.
So there's some necessary evils, right? I mean, that's probably the biggest example. You got to have
But what
line.
I've done is just like I've done the majority of it, like my schools with, oh crap, dude, help me out here.
You got some smoke coming out of
It's
yours.
not mono.
Fluorocarbon.
No,
Braid.
the other one. Braid, thank you. I was like, wow. Like, how do I not know? So I just run like a longer lead line if I want to go deeper and like with my braid. Like all of my reels have braid on it now, just because it's if you run like 20 feet of lead line, it's not nearly as like if you have to snap off, it's not going to hurt the environment. What if you get like bailed out or something like that with the fish? Like braid just yeah.
Sure. So another thing for waterway health. All right. So obviously we've talked about trash, talked about pollution, but what about following catch and release practices? Practices. Geesh.
I guess I didn't think about that because I do that.
Sure.
What did you say?
Following catch and
Catch and
release
release
practices.
practice.
I never like. Yeah, I only take what I want. Not unless
Sure.
it's salmon, because salmon is. If you're pulling a fish up from like 100 feet of water in a couple of minutes, especially with anything of the trout species, it's probably gonna die.
Well, so there's special case scenarios, right? That's one of them. Another one's drag a big catfish from a 100-foot hole really, really
Yeah.
quickly. You know, you got to learn to do other types of things to help those fish. Obviously, the trout family being very delicate, that's harder. But with bass and with catfish, you can either burp them or,
Yeah, I have like a bloat tool or something like that in my
right,
tackle. I forget what it's called,
right.
but
You bleed off their air bladder, sends them back down.
yep.
Yep, stuff like that. So with the few outliers there, the biggest key to all this being just fish care. If you're gonna put it back in the lake, be gentle with it. Doesn't matter what the species.
You see all these people with bass just like yeet.
Yeet. What's
And
that?
I
What's that
won't
trend right
like
now?
I
We care about our fish. So we do careful releases. Backflip.
oh dude, like you saw
those
that
are everywhere right
like
now,
those
man.
you saw the stream of pictures I sent you with me with that. It was like a 24-inch pike where I'm like holding it, and then just like it was like a 3-picture burst where I just like chucked it back in the water. One, because they're really slimy, and just that smell never gets out of your hand. Like you can scrub and scrub and scrub, and like good luck. But they're just a hardy fish. Like you got to really hook them bad to kill a pike.
Well, right. But the general consensus of it, if you're gentle with a fish, or be gentle with a fish if you're gonna let it go. Obviously,
Oh
if you're
yeah.
keeping it, who cares? Right? Another thing you can do if you really want to get into that aspect of being gentle with fish, you go barbless hooks. Make sure your hands are wet, especially with delicate species. You know, trout, they have like no scales really. Like they're so small, it's ridiculous. And so they rely completely on their slime coat. Well, if you have dry hands, you take off their slime coat, you're probably killing the fish. Any thoughts on?
I hate using barbless hooks.
I'm not a fan of them either, but I can understand the point of them.
It teaches you to leave pressure on the fish.
That's fair. I'm not saying they're not usable.
You have never hooked into a salmon or a large lake trout, have you?
No.
Me? No.
Well, I know you haven't. They run at you.
Right.
Like
And that's where the
you
barb
gotta,
hook's a problem.
yeah,
Carp do the
like
same thing.
it is
Catfish can also
not.
do the same thing.
Oh yeah, I know
Seems
any
like
fish can, but it's like normally you don't have like the pull of a boat helping, like assisting,
sure.
which is why I went to that, because you don't ever, if you're running 8 lines, you're not, yeah, you're not turning or like stopping the boat. It's just bad
Right.
juju if you do. So you got the boat and then like fish charging you. It's just yeah. Barbless hooks would never work for like down rigging.
No, I got
I
you.
don't think that could be like a good idea. Well, no, it's too expensive. Like it's like $200 to take that boat out.
Eddie, welcome in. Let's see. What else did I miss here? Might have missed a few other people here. Man. Lisa's in here. Welcome in. She called me an invasive species. That hurts.
What was that?
Lisa called me an invasive species because I'm from Michigan and I live in Tennessee now. So yeah.
I mean, technically, you would be.
Yes, I would be.
Yeah.
Based on the definition of how that works, yes. Came
It's
down
also
here.
so we have a problem with Asian carp, but over in Japan they have problem with largemouth bass.
Isn't
So
that
we
funny?
traded, and they
Because
have like
they
12,
specifically
13
brought the largemouth bass over
pounders.
there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what I understand, it was a landlocked lake, and then somebody thought it was going to be funny to put it into a tributary area, like a lake with a tributary, and then it just good luck.
And we'll get
It
into
only
that
takes a
more
couple.
on the episode about invasive species. But even here in the States, you know, half the country have flathead catfish. But in North Carolina or South Carolina, they both, I think it's North Carolina, they're an invasive species. They weren't there originally, you know? But
Is he
same
real
thing.
silent, do you say?
Yeah, but apparently it sounds good to everybody else. So a lot of
Oh,
times I just nod, smile, and say, "Yep."
so part of it is that I hear myself talking and it's driving me nuts. I've been messing with this
That's
audio
a
stuff.
short trip, anyways, dude.
Oh, that's
Hey, hey,
uncalled
hey,
for.
hey, hey.
But yeah, um, we'll talk about it more in their invasive species episode. But even from state to state, right next door to each other, it can be different. But in that extreme case, Asian carp from Asia and largemouth bass from here getting swapped back and forth are a problem. And those are the ones you hear about the worst, right? Snakeheads we got from Asia. You have all the aquarium species down in Florida that aren't from here. And then obviously in Japan, you have the largemouth bass problem,
Well,
which
you got
doesn't
to
help.
think about the snakeheads too. They defend their babies unlike any other predatory fish we have here.
Right.
Like they aggressively defend their babies.
And it makes difference. But like I said, we'll talk about that more in that episode. But there's still an issue when it comes to waterway health. Same you touched on earlier with the zebra mussels, but cleaning your boat, your gear, your boots, um, washing off the ducks before they go from one lake to another. Just kidding.
Did you say
But
ducks?
ducks.
Like
Were you not here for the episode
Delta?
when I was talking about the duck spreading species from one lake to another? Like how humans are the main problem with invasive species, but ducks do a tribute to it.
It's
No.
like in Alabama, we have a native species of dwarf sunfish. The waterways got so polluted at one point where it almost killed them all off, where they thought they were extinct. And then they were going to build a new section onto a plant that I was working at the time and discovered that, and it shut them down because that's the only place you can find that species of dwarf sunfish.
Yeah, there's actually a dam up here that was going to get put in that got shut down because of some sort of a darter species. So yeah, it there's government agencies out there that are helping with it too, but there's definitely stuff we can do as anglers to help with it too.
I mean,
And
that's
that's
just humans in general. Like, when I went to Isle Royale, I talked to a couple of national park officers, like not the ones that just give you like tour advice, like the ones that can give you tickets that have guns, which is kind of cool
the
because I was
scary
also
ones.
carrying. So, I mean, I was also carrying, so we were like, just like, what do you got? We're like, well, what? Yeah, it was like, yeah, they were really cool guys. But he was talking about where he was at, which I think might have been the Smokies. See, there's the
Nice,
Smokies, there's a one in Utah. That wasn't the Grand Canyon. But anyways, there was a debate over a cave that had this one particular bat that's super endangered. That's the only cave that they can find them. And they used to let people go in there and just kind of explore, but people were getting these bats sick, and so they closed it off, and it's been closed off for 20 years. and they just went and grabbed like 4 or 5 bats for like a small sample size, and every one of them had the disease that they were trying to keep out, and this was like generations of bats later that were affected.
Wow.
So it's yeah. So now there's like huge debate. Like, well, it seems the damage has been done, and I'm thinking like, nature always kind of corrects itself. Like even with microplastics and stuff like that. Like there's I think a jellyfish or something like that that can consume microplastics now.
Wow.
Um, like yeah, Discovery Channel really. I have too much free time at work, dude. Like it's just me, so I'm just putting a podcast. Like probably listen to everything Joe Rogan has, which is like
A lot.
3,000 episodes. Yeah, um,
I listen to him a lot while I'm at work,
he's funny. Well, I listened to about half of them. Like,
and he's actually really smart.
you wouldn't think that for how much stuff that he smokes. Like, um, but yeah,
Come
it's
on,
just
dude.
like all of and like talking to actual like people that go out into the woods and stuff like that, and like it's just humans. The people that love nature the most kinda are the ones that can hurt it the most too, because we do like we want to explore that. That's humans. Like we always like what's over here. Let's chop a tree down, make a boat, and let's go over there. That's just it's in our DNA. That's what we do. But in doing so, we bring diseases and stuff like that. And it's yeah, like I'm not gonna stop exploring because I love fishing, I love hunting, I love all that stuff, but we definitely do a lot of harm.
For sure.
More than what we think we do.
Right.
Yeah. And all those stupid podcasts really make me like, damn it, or dang it. Sorry. I think that's the first time I swore.
No, I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure in
And
the first
no,
episode
no,
you
no, no,
did.
no, no, no. Like I have. I was gonna say in months.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Like I know I have. But to be fair, but the first time I swore, I thought I was muted. Okay, it was with the stupid webcam mic.
Right.
Well, our first episode back, me and you both almost oopsied.
No, that
Yes.
was like
Yes.
that was like a month ago. Like when we redid everything. Like
It's been
almost
longer
got
than a month.
canceled on our. Well, it was a while ago.
It was.
Like almost got canceled on our
The
first day
first
back.
episode back.
Like,
Yeah. Way to go.
and to be fair, I forgot we were doing that podcast, and I'm on. For people that don't know, I'm missing a limb. It's kind of painful, so I'm on opiates, and even though I'm prescribed them, it still makes you a little goofy. So
Just a
I
smidge.
forget.
I don't think being
No,
prescribed them and just being on them, period, changes it, Sam.
no, but I mean, if you're
You're like
prescribed them,
loopy no matter what.
I mean, I'm prescribed them, so I have a little bit of resistance to that. Um,
The prescription makes no resistance. That's just how much you've taken them.
no,
You're not
well,
helping your case
exactly.
any, Sam.
He's
But
just monitored. That's all. He's just
I
monitored.
like, yeah, it was just like I took one of those, and then uh, Yak sends me a message like, "Hey, podcast, you still on?" I was like, "Oh God, this is gonna be terrible."
Be
Yeah,
great.
buddy, I'm good.
What could go wrong?
Lots. Almost
Yeah.
got canceled.
Well, hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
Give us time.
Fair.
I could definitely do it right now. Like, what
So,
do we got?
outside of the basic stuff, don't spread invasive species, clean off your gear, use live bait from the area you're using, not from other places, not releasing aquarium fish back into the water, pick up trash, don't use bad chemicals, all that good stuff. What else can we do as anglers to help these waterways, whether it be through information, education, or just actions? The biggest thing is to be involved with the community. Almost everywhere you go, there's somebody who is advocating picking up trash or doing group events for picking up trash, or you'll find places that have specific receptacles for like fishing line. There's a kid here in Tennessee that calls himself the conservation kid on Facebook. He's won a couple awards and stuff like that for his efforts. But he's every couple months he's got some sort of event going on to pick up an area of the lake that we live by, which is it's insane how much they pick up. Which kind of leads into my story. Um, not this past September, but the year before, I competed in a um, trash pickup challenge, which allowed me to. I ended up winning a fishing trip out of it because I came in first place. But I did one lap around the local lake, picking up anything that wasn't um, like dead fish or dead deer, right? Just literally anything that was man-made, manufacturing waste, trash, fast food trash, all that good stuff. In 2 days, well, 3 days technically total. Um, it was 8 hours second day, 6 hours the third day, and 2 hours the first day. So some less than 20 hours. I picked up 1,100 pounds trash, and I didn't even get all the way
It's
around the
not
lake.
fair.
Yeah.
It is. It's insane. And granted, there was a spot or two that had ball stuff, like the
Oh,
one
sorry.
boat ramp.
Somebody stepped on my greyhound.
You're good. One boat ramp, there was some construction stuff that was dropped off. So some carpets, some underflooring. That was kind of heavy, right? Probably 200 pounds ish of that was that stuff. And then there was another place, there was a mattress, which I picked up that had been in the rain for weeks. So that was probably another 100 pounds. So subtract that away, you're still looking at 800 pounds of just food wrappers, fishing lure boxes, empty worm containers, buckets, beer bottles, beer cans, um, all that stuff. And it's just absolutely gross. I was appalled. Because every that contest you could only get stuff from areas that could be fished. So I hit boat ramps, and all of that trash came from boat ramps.
Oh, it just shouldn't happen. Like, and we're all guilty of like dropping something or like something blows out of your car. Um, but it is just so nasty going to like, oh, like this looks like a remote lake, and then there's a mattress there. Like, what? Like, that's
What I really hate is going to my fishing spot. And there's undergarments hanging from the trees, or like laying right there. Like
all
really?
right. Not gonna lie, I have sacrificed some underwear because sometimes you got to go, and I'm not taking that in my car. And cotton biodegrades, but I mean, I don't, and you got to go, right?
Yeah, no, I got you.
Okay, but like cotton degrades, and I don't like hang it in the tree to advertise, like And
Well, I've
so
been
I am
fortunate.
guilty of that, but
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
fortunate and haven't been in that situation where I couldn't handle it with leaves. Right.
dude, some of the leaves around here look a lot like poison ivy, and that is one spot
I'm
where I
not
don't want to get
saying that there can't be
it.
complications. I'm just saying.
I think I've only ever done that like once or twice, and I swear to God, it was like ironic. Like 2 hour, like my meal while I was fishing was Taco Bell, and like
So mistake number
I,
one.
That's the worst idea.
dude, like I used to have an iron gut, but I put like 4 packets of hot sauce, like yeah, it was just regular hot because they didn't have Diablo, um, and I just finished like my last taco because I think I had like three. It was like like the whatever 3 pack that they normally have.
Before you finish the story, do we really want to hear what's going on?
No, it was just like, so I wasn't alone.
Okay.
My buddy was with me, and like I just finished the last one, and my stomach just went. I was like,
Yep. Yep.
"Shut up! You said you could hang," and my buddy's like, "I don't think you can."
Way to go.
And yeah, he was right. A couple hours later, I was like, "Oh no,
That's awful.
no, it wasn't fun."
Now you bring up another good point though. Way before the Taco Bell story, um, with
I
the
buried it.
well, you touched on it earlier about using a longer leader, but just using a leader in general that could snap off and be less of a problem. And then we also have Zach with us, uh, who, not to rub too much salt into the wound, um, has lost a few rods to big catfish here in the Tennessee River
And a shark.
and a shark.
Well, that wasn't in Tennessee, but
Right, yeah. But
yeah. How
gear
much
has
was
been
that,
lost.
Paul?
Gear has been lost.
Do what?
The pole that you lost to a shark. How much did that one cost?
That one was right around rod and reel, right around 6.
Okay,
Oof.
just curious.
It was the
Irrelevant
same
of the
quality.
cost. There is a term for lost fishing gear. And this could be leader lines, lures, in my case, a net, because I had a fish wrapped in a net, had to run up the rocks to the truck to get my scale, and the fish flopped and took the net with him into the river. So I'm just as guilty as anybody else here. Any of that stuff can affect the waterway. It can affect the wildlife, the fish, the bait, other anglers, all that stuff. Now they have a specific term set for this stuff. Do you know what it is?
No.
Ghost fishing gear or ghost gear.
Well, I've had a couple rods ghost in the past few years.
Yep. Ghost gear refers to lost, abandoned, or discarded fishing equipment, such as nets, lines, traps, and other gear that remains in the environment, often underwater. It's called ghost gear because there's nobody using it, but fish still get stuck in it. I was not aware that they had coined a term for that, and I found it interesting.
So,
I should be the captain of that term.
yeah. My wife, she actually has a Mickey Mouse pole or Donald Duck pole, and she caught a fish, and there was line coming out of it, and this little like fishing pole was on the line.
Oh
So
wow,
when she was like 8 years old, she caught a fish with a fishing pole attached to it.
very nice.
Yeah, the fishing pole still works too. Like, and
So, in the spirit of Halloween that just passed by, the last sentence on this definition says, "The name evokes that the idea, evokes the idea that the equipment, though no longer in use, still haunts ecosystems by silently harming wildlife and contributing to pollution."
Oh, it haunts me every time somebody brings it up.
I
Sure,
know that's why I do.
well, we have to. That's the whole point of being friends, right?
All right.
I mean, I could pick on you about not catching fish and no more than 2 foot away from me.
Don't start that. Don't start that.
I was
That's not
gonna say,
necessary.
like, you're not picking on me for not catching fish. Although I did go like an entire weekend and only caught, not week and only caught like 2 and lost 5 lures.
It happens.
Fun. Dude, I'm so salty about that. Like the 2 MEPs that I bought on the island, I lost one there to a giant pike, and then the other one, and by the way, I ordered 3 more of them. I lost here to a muskie, and I'm just apparently
You're
that
doing a
was a
good
good
job,
color.
ain't you?
Well, yeah, but I bought these things at a national park, so it's like $10 for one of these maps. It's
Wasn't normal
yeah.
price. It was marked up.
Oh, yeah, it was like double the price. Normally I buy them for like $4.
Well, let's
Except
let's
for
take a minute.
like this one, it has like a double spin on it. They're normally like 10, and
Yeah,
they're on sale right now for 6. So
that's pretty sweet. Well, hey, let's check in with chat here. Let's see. Hitch by Hitch, welcome in. Fish with Mio, welcome in. If you guys are in here still watching, let us know. Are you guilty of putting ghost gear in the water? Anthony J all day says, yes, I am guilty of gear donating. It happens. But I also know that Anthony J in particular picks up trash, both after himself and other people. So let us know. Are you part of the problem? Which, let's just be honest, you probably are. But are you part of the solution? And if not, will you start?
I try, it don't work, but I try.
I don't think I've ever lost any big items like a net or a fishing pole.
But you snapped
Oh
off a lure,
no,
right? You said you lost
No,
5
like
lures.
I said big items. Like, yeah, I've lost fishing lures. But I've
I
never
said
lost.
that, and then the next day is when I started losing rods. That's when I lost the $500 rod at Chattanooga.
Well, don't worry, I'm not going fishing tomorrow, so I'll be all right.
Oh, it'll get you next time.
Actually, you know what? I could bring a fishing pole tomorrow to work because walleye's in right now at the mouth.
You should.
Oh no, I can't. So, never mind. I can't. Moving on.
Killjoy 713, welcome in. But yeah, you guys are awful quiet today. Surely somebody out there is listening. Somebody out there.
Oh, so this isn't for like polluting or anything like that, but every spring, because I live in Michigan, lakes freeze, and all the seaweed dies off, and people break off in that, or fish just lose hooks and stuff like that. I troll or walk around like lake beds, like look in the seaweed and stuff like that to
Mhm.
pick up like floating lures or like um crankbaits. And normally like I find like 4 or 5 whenever I go out. Um I haven't done that in a while because, reasons. Um but yeah, it's a good way to save money, clean the environment, and sometimes you find a new favorite lure too.
That's fair.
Hey, my first whopper flopper I ever owned, I pulled out of a tree.
There you go.
And
I
then-
didn't even know about a whopper plopper till like 2 years ago, and now I love those things.
Yeah, I still haven't caught a fish in one.
Dude, that was
What was that?
I still haven't caught a
me.
fish in one.
What?
So
They're
I've
so
only
easy to catch fish on.
Hey, I'm just saying. I've thrown it. Nothing's hit it. It is what it is.
Well,
You
I mean,
know-
it is you we are talking.
That's fair.
I have not seen you catch a fish in person before.
You haven't. You're right.
No.
That'll hopefully change next time I come up there.
I think like your videos are edited and your wife catches all the fish.
Well, she definitely catches the bigger ones. Let's
It's
just
a
be honest here.
It's a conspiracy.
Sorry, I'm tired.
Well, before we finish this episode, there is a list of places or organizations rather that specifically deal with waterway cleanup. This is just a list of 7. There's more, I'm sure. But in case y'all are wondering, you have Ocean Conservancy, you have Surf Rider Foundation, the American Rivers Foundation, the Waterkeeper Alliance, Clean Water Action, Alliance for the Great Lakes, and Keep America Beautiful. All 7 of those, in some form or fashion, deal with cleaning up waterways, mostly with trash pickup campaigns, but they also encourage people to do the same, like we do. And yeah, Zach, Sam, you guys got anything else to add to this?
No.
No, not really. You put me on the spot there.
I would never. You're not put on the spot.
Would
No.
never.
Anthony J all day
Okay.
says, I keep a few trash bags in my backpack at all times. Usually go through 1 or 2 a week. Unfortunately. Yeah, that is unfortunate. But I do appreciate you doing it. And I'm sure everybody in the local area does too. Except for probably the guy leaving the stuff.
Yeah, he probably don't care.
No, probably not. Hopefully, though, he'll hear this or another podcast talking about it or see something and have his eyes opened up. Time will tell.
Probably not.
Quit being a pessimist. Gotta be positive here.
I'm a positive person, but I'm also a realistic person.
That's fair.
A lot of people's not going to change the way they think, man.
That's fair.
That's the sad part about it.
One person does, though,
It's
who
something.
knows? Yeah.
Well, guys and gals, you've been watching The Bait Tank, a live streamed video podcast.
What is that?
That was my phone being, or my computer doing weird.
That was an epic ringtone, I think.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a ringtone. It was software claiming I was inactive for whatever reason. Anyway, you've been listening to The Bait Tank, a live stream video podcast talking about fishing. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back in 2 weeks, same time, same place, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard. Make sure you keep an eye on the social pages. We'll announce the next topic, and we'll see y'all next time. Take it easy.
Yep.